Hello, ladies. Welcome to our podcast. I'm Marta Esther, and today we're here to talk a little bit about the journey about the custody of our children. Here with us, with me, is Ariele. Thank you, my dear friend, for agreeing to share a little of your journey with us, right? And before we get into today's topic, first, I'm going to say something. I am the mother of a beautiful girl called Brincy. And I can say with my heart overflowing with happiness how much she is a wonderful girl who God gave me to take care of here on this earth. A daughter who joined me on the journey when she was just 2 years old. So basically, she experienced everything I went through on the journey from the beginning. Today, she is 13 years old, which she completed last month, and to my happiness, she is an affectionate young girl, friend, partner, inseparable, who has the desire to live the dreams and desires of the Lord in her life. I want to invite my dear friend Ariele to also talk about who Ariele is a mother of. How do you live? How is your coexistence, on a daily basis? Tell us, Ariele, please. Welcome to our podcast.
Hello. Hello, Marta dear. Hello, ladies. What a joy to be here to share this podcast with you. And what a joy to hear you, Marta, talking about your daughter. Imagine, already 13 years old, right? It goes by quickly, and what a blessing. What a blessing. She's growing, beautifying, thanks to the eyes of our beloved, right? I'm Astrid's mother, and when we started our journey at the age of 10, and now she's already a young girl at 19 years old. And just as you said, Marta, I also share that she is my companion, my friend, a sweet, dear young woman who also wants to walk the ways of the Lord. Yes, to follow her dreams, to make a living. She's very, very attached to the Lord. That's special. So I can only say that we have a very, very beautiful coexistence. I hear that from friends, from companions, from mothers. We do a lot of things together. And that's it.
Oh, how beautiful. It's so nice to talk about our children. Laughs. How beautiful. Yes, you talk about the beautiful and sweet Astrid. And I would like that you would also share, honey, how it was in the beginning. If in fact, now we are going to get into the topic of the podcast we are on. Yes, in this podcast, we are going to talk about custody. If we had something that we went through, right, that we can share about our testimony. And I wanted you to share with us how it was in the beginning and how it is now if something has changed, of course. The specific arrangements for the custody of your daughter, have you received or receive financial support from your husband or ex-husband? Was there a time when this was more difficult or not? How was that? Or how has that been for you, dear?
Well, dears, yes. Like, I'm going to say that in terms of problems, yes, custody issues, I never got to have them. Yes, that was very easy. Me with my ex-husband, yes, he's always been very present and good. Yes, you've always been at home, always looking for help. You're always touching his heart, right? There are times when something goes wrong and he would come and help us. Yes, coexistence too. There never was. Yes, how can I say? A problem of coexistence. Even because he has always been very, very attached to Astrid. There was a time when it was just the two of us and our beloved heavenly husband, but it was for reasons of work, for my former husband that he had to be absent to work in another city, right? But how can I say now? Yes, even at the moment, he is always here, helping, yes, in what he can, giving support, yes, financially, like that. So, yes, in this part of problems, like in custody, we never got to court or anything in relation to it. It was all very smooth. Thank God, yes, I thank our beloved very much. I know I'm very blessed. I know he's always protected us. And in this, avoided this that I know that for many ladies is a difficult, delicate subject. It's a real battle. But I can say that our beloved has always, always been here and protected us. Wow, he protected us. No real difficulty in relation to this. And you, dear, how has it been with you and your beautiful and sweet daughter?
Laughter. Well, I think my case is totally the opposite of yours because from the beginning, of the journey, there was no conversation between me and my earthly ex-husband about the custody of Brincy, or about the financial arrangements because in fact, at the beginning of the journey, yes, there was a lot of dispute, but between me and him, right? Actually, it was the financial part, the material goods part, but we forgot about the main thing, which was Brincy, unfortunately. Yes, there was no dispute over her, there wasn't. A division, nothing. A conversation about her because we were so busy defending the goods, and that's where I met the ministry. Because right after my separation, I met the ministry, and I learned that I shouldn't ask, that I shouldn't demand judgment, financial support for her. And of course, before I met, and learned that I had a heavenly husband who would take care of me, but I also had a heavenly father who would take care of Brincy. I wanted to fight, right? Marta wanted to fight for her right. I wanted to go to court, right? But it was for a short time because soon after that I met the ministry, right? I thank them very much for teaching me, for not having gone to court to fight for anything. In all this time of the journey, I never received any financial help from my earthly ex-husband, and I'm not here saying to embarrass him, but just to testify that the Lord supported us, yes, taking care of every detail of our lives. It was him that took care of these details of our food, about Brincy's studies, about clothing, nothing we lacked because he took care of everything, right? And that's what he does for each one of us. He doesn't allow us to have to ask anything from the earthly husband, as we are very encouraged to do, right? In ministry, we are encouraged, not to ask. In the where case, they don't want to give us something for us or our children, even if that happens and our earthly husband doesn't give anything to us. And if they don't give to our children, we know that we, yes, will have everything we need, right? Because our beloved gives us what we need and he does it even beyond our needs, right? So that's what I've been experiencing. Today we can like truly say that so far he has sustained us and I thank him. And I want to stop right away. Move on to another question, Arielle, honey. If at that time, in relation to your earthly husband, you said that he was always present, right? So I think that's where the question is. Did he take care of you and your daughter? Or you at some point? Imagine that alone. Without the presence of Astrid's earthly father, you would arrive, right? Where you two are now. Because from what we have read of your testimonies, you are always testifying, that today you are living abundantly. Did you ever think you couldn't? Or did you, yes, you always had her earthly father's presence helping you? Or did you ever have a moment that was like that, a crucial and very difficult moment in your journey? Tell us, dear. Laughter.
So, honey, yes, listening to your testimony, I couldn't agree more. That's exactly it. How the Lord takes care of us. Whether we have an earthly husband who is still present, helping, and in the absolute lack of one, nothing is missing. Yes, it is inevitable. When we follow the principles that we are taught in the ministry, we can be sure that the Heavenly Father of our girls takes care of us and does not miss anything, right? In relation to your question, I'm going to say that the moment that I had the most, I was really afraid. It was in the beginning. I think that was crucial for the earthly husband to never have completely moved away and to have continued to help as he does to this day. Yes, maybe if I hadn't come to the ministry, maybe if I had followed his advice, the story would be different. Things would be different. Maybe I would have gone to court. Maybe he had hardened his heart and everything. But following the principles, I could really see him softening his heart. So I've been like that throughout all these years. Like I said before, when something started to be missing, like, wow, how am I going to get it? Yes, pay For example, a class for Astrid, or buy some clothes that she needs, right? Because she makes music and everything. Yes, without having to ask her anything, the earthly husband would come and or ask if she needed something, when he showed up exactly when she needed something. So, yes, what I can say is from the moment that we follow the principles and trust, give ourselves fully, that our Heavenly Father will take care of us and will provide. He makes us not see if anything is missing. In my case, He uses my earthly husband. And in the case of each one, He uses other people. As I'm sure that in your case, He must have used people daily, other people to help you, right? But one thing for sure, we never, never, never lacked anything.
Yes, it's true. You said something, and it's true because, yes, we didn't have, as you did, the earthly husband who took care of you, your daughter. And without the presence of the earthly father, how is that? And I confess that I never imagined that I would be able to handle it, which in fact, alone I would not be able to and do not even do, right? But it was one of the factors which today I can see was one of the decisive factors for Brent's journey to also be one of complete peace and harmony because I was afraid of failing, of not knowing how to take care of my daughter, you know, and that, and I didn't want her to suffer like I was suffering, at the beginning of the journey. And that's where we started to, we read with the courses we took, and we learned with the wonderful chapter, Your Best Protection. And I was learning and teaching to Brincy, right? That even if her father and I were not with her, she should not be afraid or feel alone because she had, the incredible Heavenly Father who loves her with incomparable love, and that she also has an inseparable friend who is and will be with her wherever she is, and that she could be happy without having the presence of the earthly father or my presence. But what she couldn't stay is away from him, from her heavenly father, because there's no way to be happy away from him, right? There is no happiness away from him, right? So that's what I talk to her. Even if I fail, even if I'm not with you, even if your earthly father isn't, you're always going to have your heavenly father, your friend, always with you. And I get emotional with that because today I can see how my daughter is like that. A daughter, I would say that she is cared for. She is a 13-year-old girl, a young teenager of 13, and that she is sure of the Lord's love. She lives the Lord's love. She knows that she is cared for, and she is cared for by a heavenly Father. And and that's what I share with people, right? Through what did Brincy and I live through, that even in the face of the difficulties we had, and sometimes we still have, sometimes they are financial difficulties, sometimes emotional difficulties, but we are immensely happy because we are loved with a love that has no limits, and that is available to us and to our children too, right? So, like, yes, it's beautiful to see that, yes, the family is God's. And when we see ourselves in this, in these journeys, in quotation marks alone, we can be sure that we are not alone and that not even our children are alone. They are not orphans. They have this heavenly Father who takes care of them, right? And I thank him very much for every part of my journey where my beloved, has guided us, right? And he has shown us that it is possible, yes, it is, for us to live happily and abundantly, letting him guide us. And that's what I invite to all those who are listening to us today, right? So that you can let yourselves be guided by him, you know, in upbringing, in the care of your children, because he will guide, he will do for you too, just as he did with me, did with Brincy, did with Ariele, Astrid, and with many other mothers and children who are there every day sharing on our blog testimonies of how much he has done for them, right? So it is beautiful to be able to live today to know that we can live abundantly next to our Heavenly Husband. Yes, even if we go through these situations of sharing, of custody, of shared custody, right? Yes, it is possible to have peace. It is possible not to argue. No, not to have intrigues or fights between the wife and the husband in front of the children, but to have peace when the Lord guides us, right? So that's it. I want to invite you to let the Lord guide you too, right? Thank you for being here. Ariele, want to add anything else, dear, so that we can close this meeting of ours today?
I just wanted to really compliment and agree with what you said, which is exactly that. Yes, we can have moments when we have a certain, yes, financial need or emotional stability, really. But one thing no one can steal from us, which is the joy of having him with us all the time and the certainty that we are safe together with him, right? And I want to encourage all those who are listening to us not to listen to the voices of the world that say that you have to fight or anything. No, follow the principles of the Lord that are taught to us and trust him that everything will be fine.
Because He is the one who fights for us, right? We have His promise that He is the one who fights for us, right?
Absolutely.
How good to be able to rest on this promise that we don't have to fight this battle, that He fights for us, isn't it? Thank you, Ariele. Thank you who are here listening to us. We hope that this podcast can encourage you, and you can also bring your testimony here to us as the journey with your sons and daughters has been for you. Thank you very much, and see you on our next podcast, if He allow it. A super hug, and see you next time.